Hi everyone, my name is Amy with Eating Healthy, Spending Less, and today I want to talk to you about foods that we should focus on purchasing at the grocery store if we are trying to save money, pay off debt, or if we find ourselves in a financial pinch where we just don't have a lot of extra money to be spending on groceries. So what are those foods that we need to focus on? What foods should we avoid purchasing at the store? Let's talk first about the foods we should focus on purchasing, and that is beans. That's right, beans are so good for you. I love having a variety of beans in the house. Lentils, red lentils, and black beans, pinto beans, white navy beans, garbanzo beans, split peas. I think that's all I have right now in my pantry. I love having a variety of beans. Why are beans so good for you? Beans are high in protein, as we all know, but they have so many beneficial nutrients and they're pretty low in calories. So they have a lot to offer. They're also very high in fiber. I have a plethora of recipes using beans on my website. I also have shared plenty here on YouTube under my recipes playlist. You should be able to see that. And I also have a video coming out this week where I will be sharing with you my favorite red lentil soup. Very inexpensive to make. And that video will be coming out on Wednesday, not Thursday because it's Thanksgiving for us here in the United States, but Wednesday that video will be posted. So definitely check that out if you want to save a lot of money on food. Red lentil soup is where it's at. So good. Another food that we should focus on is grains. Grains, I know, against all grains. It's just so popular right now. But grains were created for us to eat because they are so filling. They are also very cheap. And with inflation right now, we need to be focusing on these cheap foods. Also, they have so much fiber. They just keep everything moving in your system. Greens, grains, and beans. Those are probably like the top 3 fibrous foods to help keep your body regulated. My favorite grains to focus on is rice, whether it's white rice or brown rice, just eat rice. I do control my portions with rice, with all grains, but with rice, I typically have about 1/2 cup per serving. So each plate gets about 1/2 cup of brown rice or white rice. I have both. I also love oats. Oats is everywhere on my website because they're naturally gluten-free for anyone who has a gluten intolerance. Typically you can handle oats. And so oats is everything for me. I grind them into flour and make muffins and pancakes and cakes. And it's just so nice to have lots of oats in the house. So oats is a really good one. But also you could experiment with other grains like millet and buckwheat and rye and spelt. There's all kinds of grains out there and they're fun to experiment with. I do purchase most all of my grains on Azure Standard, which I share here plenty of times. And I will leave my referral link for you below, but also Costco is a great resource. That is where I purchase my white rice because it is a better price at Costco. Let's talk about potatoes and cabbage. I'm gonna kind of group these together because they are so cheap. Cabbage is fantastic for salads. It's a very bulky vegetable, and so it makes a great salad, and it's delicious with potatoes. So of course, what do you think of with cabbage and potatoes? I think of St. Patrick's Day, of course. But potatoes, again, is a fantastic, cheap, bulky, fibrous, nutritious food. And I don't want to forget about carrots. Carrots definitely should go in with the potatoes and cabbage category because carrots are so cheap per pound. If I know at Costco, I can get a 6-pound bag for less than $4. So definitely eat a lot of carrots. Shred carrots into muffins. eat steamed carrots. Instead of buying baby carrots, buy the big carrots and peel them and cut them yourself. You're going to save a lot of money with carrots. Okay, let's talk about fruit. Bananas, apples, and oranges. These are probably going to be your cheapest fresh fruit options, especially now that we're going into the fall season and winter season where apples will be even cheaper than normal, as well as citrus fruit. And bananas are cheap year-round. I know at Costco you can get a bunch for $1.50. At Aldi's, often they're around the 30-cent mark per pound. Focus on bananas for a lot of your meals. Bananas are also a great oil replacement or an egg replacement in a baking recipe. You can also freeze the bananas and puree them in a food processor and make ice cream. Ice cream we're going to talk about in a minute. Bananas are a great alternative, a cheap alternative for a wonderful frozen treat. If you really want to purchase other fruits like strawberries or berries, I highly recommend sticking with frozen when you're really trying to save money. Now, sometimes we can get them for really inexpensive when they're in season, but now that we're going into the winter months, let's focus on our frozen fruits. I like to purchase them in bulk. I actually purchase them in the bigger bags at Walmart. That tends to be one of the best prices that I have found. And I like to add them to everything. Instead of purchasing maple syrup, which we'll talk about in a minute, I'm kind of merging the two together here with a few of these foods. Instead of pouring a maple syrup on pancakes, I like to make a fruit syrup using frozen strawberries or frozen mango or frozen berries. And then I thicken it with a little cornstarch and add a little honey. It's a delicious syrup for pancakes. So really watch for those sales on frozen fruit, and that is where you're gonna save the most money. Along with frozen berries is frozen vegetables. Frozen vegetables is a great value. So if you're wanting to buy broccoli, but it's expensive fresh, purchase it frozen. Same for green beans and spinach as well. Actually, frozen spinach is a lot cheaper than fresh spinach in a lot of grocery stores. So just watch the prices and compare in your stores where you're shopping. Is frozen less per pound than fresh? And I guarantee frozen will be a better price. I don't have a lot of pre-packaged snacks in my cabinet, but two snacks that I frequently have is oyster crackers and pretzels. Now, shockingly for some, but there are a lot of people that don't know what oyster crackers are, and they think of oyster like what's in the ocean. These are oyster crackers. They're like saltine crackers, but they're in this shape. And these are so cheap, only about $1 a bag. This is what my kids prefer eating over goldfish crackers. Imagine that. But they love these. They're a little bit salty. It's just a plain, yummy cracker. My kids love them. So we stick with these and pretzels for their typical snacks, and they absolutely love them. So I think the foods that we've talked about here in this category definitely work for all three meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, so what are those foods that we should not be focused on buying? Number one is prepackaged frozen meals. It's a waste of money. You are going to save the most money by making all of your food from scratch. It's true. Also, avoid purchasing ice cream. It's so expensive, and it's not necessary to eat on a regular basis. Let ice cream be your occasional treat, and try the banana ice cream method. It is amazing with a little dollop of peanut butter, a little sprinkling of chocolate chips, or a berry like frozen strawberries. It's amazing. So you're gonna have to give those a try. My kids will even sometimes sprinkle like crushed up pretzels on top. It's really good. You're gonna have to try it, but avoid ice cream. Also, like we said before, maple syrup. It's $12 at Costco for a jar of their maple syrup, which is the best price I have ever seen. And at Winco, it's like over $20. It's crazy. But anyways, avoid maple syrup. Make a simple syrup instead using sucanate sugar and water. Simple syrup is equal parts sugar to water. You can do this with white sugar, brown sugar, whatever you want. A simple syrup will also work. But that is where I like to implement the fruit syrup, where you're getting more nutrients and it's definitely better for your health, and it's so good on pancakes. I put on here baking mixes. Now, I don't agree with this in every category, but any like specialty baking mix is not necessary, but an inexpensive cake box mix is fine. Those are typically about $1 a box, and those do save us some sanity sometimes when we need to just quickly bake a cake for whatever reason. Really be cautious because the prices can get out of control. Cereal can be so costly. Be careful with this one. If I purchase my kids a box of cereal, I typically only will purchase cereal at grocery outlet, because you can get like a healthier cereal for around $1 to $2 a box. Just be careful. Don't spend all of your money on cereal. Cereal should be a treat, not a daily food. You're not getting hardly any nutrients, and it doesn't even fill you up. Oftentimes my kids are wanting a second bowl of cereal, so give them something more substantial. There's just so many other delicious foods that you can focus on than cereal. Chips. Oh, this is a hard one because my favorite food is chips and salsa. Be careful with this one as well. Chips can be so expensive, especially because it's not a food that fills you up, and we always eat way too many. Way more than the serving size, I'm sure. So just be cautious. If you're going to buy chips, buy plain tortilla chips. And lastly is snacks. Snacks are budget busters. Snacks. They just are not necessary. If you are eating 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks are just not necessary. Now, I will say, in the afternoons between lunch and dinner, I like to have a treat. And so oftentimes I will have a piece of chocolate, or I will have a little dessert, but snacks, I just try to avoid them, because when you go to the store and you buy snacks, you just bust your budget. So avoid snacks if you're really trying to save money. So I hope that these tips help you save money on your grocery budget. Now, in the coming weeks, I will be sharing with you a lot of inexpensive recipes. If you liked this video, would you please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel? I would greatly appreciate that. I love making YouTube videos all about handcrafted recipes using fresh ingredients and everyday living. And don't forget, this girl is on a budget. I will see you all in my next video, friends. Bye-bye.